Hey guys, it's Evan. It's late March 2025 and this is a very exciting video for me. We're rolling up on 1,000 subscribers to Evan K Exotics and it's a big deal for me. I'll tell you that when I started this YouTube channel about 8 years ago, it was not reptile oriented at the time. It was more of a lifestyle channel. It was called a gentleman's operation and it featured a lot more like homesteading type things. They're still up on the on my videos. If you scroll way back, you can see those. But it's just been a really amazing ride to see it evolve from that into a reptile specific channel. And I'm just having some wild things happen to me over it. I think that it's been one of the ways I've been able to reach out and make connections in the world with a lot of great keepers, a lot of experienced keepers, a lot of new keepers, a lot of customers turned friends, and a lot of friends that are just remaining becoming even better friends. So I'm really excited and happy with how this is turning out. And we are at like 995 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed and you subscribe today, you could be my 1,000th subscriber and help me get over that edge. If you are subscribed already, thank you for being with me. Please like and comment. I'm still very much excited about doing these videos. We're starting to roll into the boa breeding season. I got eggs on the ground with my children's python. You're gonna see a lot more of that type of stuff. But today I'm going to talk about what I'm so thankful that I chose to do from the beginning with my reptile collection, and how I think that's very important and how it's got me to this point. But the first thing I wanted to introduce to you is my reptile co-host here. This is Pinchy. Pinchy is kind of a unique ball python. Pinchy is a female F1, filial generation 1, means she's the first captive bred generation, completely normal ball python. She's one of 2 ball pythons that I own. She is unusual in that most ball pythons in America are not normals, and most normals are not, and most normals in America carry genes that are not shown. So this is pretty unusual to have an F1, het for nothing, normal ball python. And I will tell you that because she is so close to her wild-caught ancestors, there's some things about her, like she's got the nice big broad head. That's what normal ball pythons look like. I think that real pinch snout is something that's happening with gene stacking. And she's also kind of spicy. That's why she's called Pinchy. She will actually food wrap you. It's kind of interesting, but they're really beautiful animals. She's a lovely animal. I love all ball pythons, but at the end of the day, I'm an essentialist when it comes to all animals, and this is my idea of a gorgeous snake. So just want to introduce Pinchy to you, and look, she's actually doing it right now. She's going to strike. She does a reverse strike and coil, where she'll coil first and then bite. She just tried to do that to my hand, but she's kind of an interesting animal. We might actually see it happen here. But one thing I will tell you about myself and getting to this point, and I'm so thankful that I did from the beginning, is that I was pretty buttoned up about my care standards from the beginning. And the thing I'd like to the analogy I like to make is from business. And I was in an industry where we were starting off at the seed of an industry and going from there. And one of the founding heads of that company said, it is hard to be good and small, and it's hard to be big and good. And that was his mantra as we were growing. And you can kind of take a different look at that same saying and say that it is easy to be good when you're small, and it's harder to be good when you're big. And one of the things that I would be very thankful that I did from the beginning with my animals is just focusing on being pretty buttoned up about my standards of care, my standards of maintenance, my standards of caging, my standards of quality animals. That doesn't mean that I was going out and buying, and I don't mean like quality in terms of like very high-end animals, rare animals, gene stacked animals. I mean that I was seeking out quality captive bred specimens, so that I was starting with good founding stock. I was focusing on setting them up properly from the beginning. There was no training wheels. It wasn't like, I'm just gonna throw them in this tub for now and then go from there. There was not, I'm just gonna start with these snakes and then go from there. From the beginning, it was a good, earnest attempt to be high standards. And being good when you have a small collection of animals is relatively easy. And if you aren't good when you have a small collection of animals, it's very hard to make the switch to being good once you have more animals. animals. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people get into, and then you'll see their standards get away from them, and then it's not sustainable and they fall out of the hobby. But I'm very thankful that basically as I acquired animals and I grew in a way where before I got into something else, I'm like, I've got this buttoned up and I'm doing well with this, and then growing from there. I was not trying to stack things on top of each other on a house of cards where my care was suboptimal, or I was having health issues, or I hadn't figured out something before and continue trying to grow. I just happened to set pretty good standards for myself in terms of care from the beginning, and that's what allows me to be good now. And I would encourage you guys to do that from the beginning. Set good caging standards, set good hygiene standards, set good maintenance standards, acquire high quality animals from the beginning. Don't think that any animals are training wheels and that you're going to get these animals and do something a little bit accomplished. Look at that, she's going to bite me right there. A little bit accomplishful, and then move on from those animals. You're just going to bog yourself down with excess capital with low quality things, and you're going to get to a point where you're big and not really good quality, and then that makes it very hard to catch up and tighten up your quality parameters from there. So that's just what I will tell you, is that from the beginning, great caging, great care standards, only breeding things that are worthwhile, and being consistent from that has gotten me from being small and good to being medium sized and still pretty good. So that's just what I'll tell you. I'm thankful that that was something I naturally did from the beginning. I think it's because, I think I've said this to you before, but the reason I keep snakes, I think, is a little different than what a lot of people do. My motivation for keeping reptiles is I was attracted to the idea of a reptile room from the beginning. I think a lot of people are like, I want this snake, or I want this type of animal, and this is my dream animal. I was like, my dream room at the time, back in the 90s, when I think about it, looked like a room full of rows and rows of neodicias, set up and clean and uniform and well maintained. It's like, my dream reptile collection looks like those big 4x4x4 cages that they showed on Crocodile Hunter from the 80s, where they just had animals set up. They didn't even show the animals. I was like, that's the room that I want. So I think maybe one of the reasons that I focus on pretty high standards of caging and quality from the beginning is that was actually my motivation from the beginning, more than the animals. The animals to me are not secondary, but the focus on the room, the focus on the caging, the focus on the care and those standards is the horse that draws the cart of amazing animals for me. And that's just something that I'll tell you, I'm thankful that I'm done. There's things that I wish I hadn't done in the hobby, but that's the one thing that I did that made it so that from then on, I'm able to just be able to maintain at a pretty high standard without having to make some major effortful change mid-stride, because I set myself up easy from the beginning. So I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.